call this meeting to order. This is meeting number 43 of the Standing Committee on Finance. I want to welcome all of our guests here today at the start of our pre-budget consultations 2014. Colleagues, I want to welcome you back to the first meeting of the Finance Committee in the fall. We are starting our pre-budget consultations. We have two panels at our first meeting of an hour and a half each. The first panel, we have the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, the director, Mr. Gregory Thomas. We have from the Fraser Institute, a person who's written a budget in the past, Mr. Sean Spear. Yeah, little kudo, yeah. From the Macdonald-Laurier Institute, we have the senior fellow, we have Mr. Philip Cross. From the National Association of Federal Retirees, we have the president, Gary Oberg. And from the University of Ottawa, we have someone who's familiar to our committee. We have Mr. Kevin Page. Welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for being with us. You each have 5 minutes for your opening statement, and then we'll have questions from members. Cross, we'll go to Mr. Oberg, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I got to tell you, I had a 10-minute presentation here that just had to be cut to 5, so I hope I can make it. On behalf of the National Association of Federal Retirees, I am pleased to address this committee on the issues that affect all our veterans, including Canadian Armed Forces, RCMP members, and their families. As the president of the association and having served my country as a member of the RCMP for over 27 years, I understand the issues affecting our veterans and their families, and I have heard from many of them over the years. The National Association of Federal Retirees is the largest national advocacy organization representing federal retirees, their partners, and survivors from the Canadian Armed Forces, the RCMP, the Public Service of Canada, and retired federally appointed judges. With over 185,000 members, including over 60,000 veterans and their families, this association has a 50-year history of providing independent advocacy on issues affecting the financial security and health and well-being of our members, including veterans and their families. Our veterans membership make this organization one of the largest organizations representing veterans today. Our presentation today focuses on ensuring our veterans, including Canadian Armed Forces and RCMP members, and their families have access to the programs and services which will ensure a supportive and successful transition to civilian life with the reassurance of lifelong quality of life, including financial stability, rewarding career, good health and well-being, and a strong family. This is the federal government's obligation. Resolving the financial deficiencies of the new Veterans Charter is one of the most pressing issues facing our veterans and their families. Since 2006, veterans groups, the Veterans Ombudsman, the new Veterans Charter Advisory Group, and 2 reports from the House of Commons Committee on Veterans Affairs have all stated that there are significant deficiencies within the new Veterans Charter. More recently, in June of this year, this government released 3 reports on the care of our injured veterans. This is a compelling message that immediate improvements to the benefits, services, and programs to support veterans who have been injured in their service to Canada are required. Extensive and comprehensive consultation and analysis have taken place, and immediate action is essential. It is now time to resolve the key financial deficiencies of the new Veterans Charter. We believe this government must maximize the number and types of jobs for Canadians, and this includes our military and RCMP veterans, by providing a tax incentive for employers that hire a veteran. The Veterans Affairs Canada 2010 Life After Service study confirmed that 25% of veterans experience difficulty in transitioning to civilian life. To lessen this risk, it is important that all veterans have the opportunity to transition to meaningful employment following their service to their country. While there are programs available to assist our injured military and RCMP veterans transition to civilian employment following their service, the programs remain limited and focused in specific areas such as helmets to hard hats. Our military and RCMP members have training, skills, expertise, and leadership which are second to none. We need to recognize this and ensure that diversity in employment opportunities which taps into their extraordinary experience and talent is available to our veterans. Therefore, to encourage private employers to engage this resource across the country, employers that hire veterans should receive a tax credit from the federal government. This will build and strengthen our communities. Lastly, we believe that a sustainable national research program focused on the needs of Canadian Armed Forces and RCMP veterans and their families is essential. The long-term impact of independent research on military and veterans' health is significant as it informs and shapes government policy and programs to ensure that veterans and their families experience a successful transition and lifelong quality of life. Our veterans are impacted by unique risks, exposures, and experiences of service. These Canadians require unique standards of health protection, prevention, and care. The Canadian Institute of Military Veterans Health Research has established itself as an unprecedented and independent leader in veterans health research in Canada. This institute engages existing academic research resources, facilitating new research, increase research capacity, fosters knowledge and translation, and has become the hub of 33 universities who have agreed to join forces in addressing these unique health research requirements. In just 4 years, the Canadian Institute of Military Veterans Health Research has become the hub for military and veteran health research in Canada, and we support the request that the government commit $5 million over 5 years. In conclusion, on behalf of the 185,000 plus members of the National Association of Federal Retirees, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to address this committee today. I have provided you with the priorities which are supported by veterans groups, the Veterans Ombudsman, the new Veterans Charter Advisor Group, and 2 reports from the House of Commons Committee on Veterans Affairs. It is time for substantive change to support our veterans and their families who have been injured in service to their country. I urge you to take that need for change now. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Oberg.
Leads us to question where the best investments are. Mr. Oberg, I want to turn to you for a moment. Do you consider the services and programs offered to our veterans as investments, or are they sort of, I don't want to use the improper term here, but are they secondary considerations for a government dealing with other matters, other economic matters, job creation, job growth? To your members, the folks that you represent, the types of expenditures that you're asking for, now that we appear to be moving into surplus, are they investments in the Canadian economy and Canada in general?
Sir, you have to take a look at it Mr. Chair, in perhaps a different terminology than in an investment. This is an investment of people. This is an investment in the people that have gone to perhaps foreign lands, fought within Canada, have suffered injuries, sometimes mental illness, and come back so that you and I, at the end of this day, we can walk out of this historic building to the top of the front of the stairs overlooking the front lawn and breathe that thing that we call freedom. That freedom did not come without a cost, and we have to ensure that those people that have done that on our behalf are looked after at a cost to the people of Canada who are the beneficiaries of all that has taken place by these people.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Saxton. Mr. Bryson, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to begin with Mr. Oberg, and thank you to all of you for joining us today. But Mr. Oberg, your brief touches on the key financial deficiencies of the new Veterans Charter, and particularly in areas of inequality. You've highlighted the disability awards for veterans compared to what injured civilians workers would get in a court of law. Also, earnings loss benefit for Class A and Class B reservists, some of the issues. Many of the soldiers who went to Afghanistan were actually reservists. What's the government's rationale or defense of a policy of treating reservists differently when they become injured?
Very good question, Chair. Thank you. A human being, no matter if he's a regular armed forces member or a reservist, is still a human being. That person goes to Afghanistan, comes back without body parts, is still a human being without body parts. And because he may be a reservist as opposed to a member of the regular armed forces, he's being treated differently. I honestly cannot tell you the rationale for that. It is a conundrum to me, and it has no rational basis in my mind. And I believe that's something that the people that are looking after the new Veterans Charter have to really delve into to deal appropriately.
Your brief also highlights differences between how much a veteran might receive in a disability award compared to what a civilian worker would receive typically in damages in a court of law. Could you provide some examples of those differences? And what do you think is, again, what's the principle behind this inequality in terms of disability benefits for veterans versus civilian workers in similar situations?
I can't give you an example as to what one may be or the other, but what I can probably say is in civilian law in Canada, courts provide certain information, certain judgments with reference to those kinds of issues. But they haven't gotten into that realm whereby that's what a person should get when they are in the military in the service of their country. And I don't think those equalities have been made, those links have been made to be able to bring that together so that everybody is treated equally. And that is an issue that needs to be looked at.
Thanks very much. The issue...
Mr. Oberg, I'd like to go to you. One of the talked about was a tax credit for the hiring of veterans. And we've had the helmets to hard hats, which we're looking to do, which will provide a place for some of our veterans to go. How did you see that tax credit? How would you kind of see that proposal working, and how that tax credit for incentive for hiring, and how would you see that working to keep it as simple as possible?
Well, you're the one that's probably in the finance area a lot more than I am, but what I can tell you is that any incentive for a company to make it easier for their bottom line to hire somebody would certainly go a long way to make that happen. And when we have veterans who are not able to get hired because of the disabilities that they have, there needs to be incentives to be able to make them become more productive. Because as I said in my statement, there's an awful lot of talent out there. There's a lot of brilliant people. Just because they're missing a body part or they're not necessarily in the best of shape physically, they can still offer an awful lot to the economy of Canada.
So I guess one way to classify that would be in terms of expenses for accommodation and other types of things then.
Any way that it can be accommodated, I would suggest that can be done is to make it an incentive to the company to hire a veteran.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Allen. We'll go to Mr. Rankin, please.
Chair, and thank you all the witnesses for coming today. I want to start with Mr. Oberg, and thank you, sir, for your service to the country and for what I thought was just an excellent brief by the National Association of Federal Retirees. I want to start with the comment that Mr. Cross made. He used the expression pension crisis in Canada, and you have done an enormous amount in your brief to try to elaborate on that crisis, for example, saying that you are in strong support of public measures such as the Canada Pension Plan, I think increasing that, and you've pointed out some of the difficulties with the RRSP as a solution. You specifically said that pooled registered pension plans are insufficient. So I guess I want to know what your solution is for this pension crisis that Mr. Cross referred to.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't believe there is a total panacea that exists out there with reference to pension reform. But what does this country need to do? What do we need to do so that people can retire with health, dignity, and financial dignity at the end of the day has got to be more than what is happening today. Canada Pension Plan is not going to meet the need. Not all companies across Canada have pension plans, and those that are entrepreneurs don't have a pension plan. They've got to save throughout their lives. So what we are advocating is the best thing that we can probably come up with at this point in time is the Canada Pension Plan does have to be expanded to be able to meet that better need at the end of the day, because it is not happening under its current regime.
I also now want to turn to your comments on vulnerable Canadians, particularly seniors. I represent a riding with a large demographic of seniors, Victoria, and you refer to the former federal parliamentary budget officer, Mr. Kevin Page, and his analysis that new terms will translate into cuts of spending of $31 billion in health care between 2017 and 24. You said this will certainly place our healthcare system at risk, which I certainly would agree with. You then talk about home care being less expensive than the alternative. You talk about the Canadian Medical Association saying long-term care is much less expensive than hospital care, and make some other recommendations. I wonder if you could elaborate more on some of these issues in your brief.
Boy, you really want me to go back into the think tank back up here, don't you? Mr. Chair, to put it into a much better context, I guess, is that As an association, we are advocating pharmacare and home care as the mantra by which we believe that the seniors of this country need at the end of the day. Healthcare is an exorbitant drain on the capital of the provinces, and we all know that. And they are working extremely hard in their various ways to try and come to grips with the drains on those capitals. But how do the seniors get involved in this? It comes to the point whereby we as an association have to ensure that all Canadians at the end of the day have health care that is going to meet their needs. And that has to be tied with financial capability, because if you don't have the two, you don't have the finances to meet your need. That's going to discipline yourself as to what you're going to put on your table with reference to food, or is it going to be just your medication? So they go hand in hand. If you don't have the health care, you don't have the finances, at the end of the day, you're probably going to need more health care.
And essentially, you're saying sustainability has got to be what we look at, the lens through which we look at this. And that takes me to Mr. Page and his...
Okay, thank you. Mr. Oberg?
Mr. Chair, if I may, I can't give you percentages. I don't have that skill. But what I guess it comes down to is, what are Canadian values? The values as to what it wants to put on looking after veterans that have been injured.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank all of our witnesses for being here for this first panel of the pre-budget consultations. Colleagues, we're just going to take a 2-minute break here, and we'll come back with our second panel. Thank you.